Imagine a place where the air itself feels like knives cutting across your skin. It's a place where your breath freezes the moment it leaves your lips, and even the simplest task becomes a battle against nature. At 71 degrees Celsius, or 96 degrees Fahrenheit, there is no margin for error. Step outside unprotected, and frostbite can set in within minutes. This is not some distant corner of Antarctica. This is a village where people live, work, raise children, and call home. This is Oymyakon, the coldest inhabited place on Earth. Tucked away in the vast icy expanse of Siberia, Oymyakon is not a place for the faint of heart. Known to some as the Pole of Cold, it carries the weight of a record that has never been beaten, the coldest temperature ever recorded in the Northern Hemisphere, a brutal 71.2 degrees Celsius. For most of us, those numbers are unimaginable. But here, it is everyday reality. The village is small, home to just a few hundred people. Yet despite its size, Oymyakon looms large as a symbol of human endurance. Every house, every school, every street has been shaped by the sheer force of its climate. To understand life here is to step into a world that constantly balances on the edge of survival. And yet, remarkably, it is also a world filled with warmth, not from the weather, but from the determination of the people who refuse to let the cold win. Life in Oymyakon begins and ends with the cold. It dictates everything: length, a walk, the layers of clothing, even how long a car can remain outside before freezing solid. Vehicles are rarely turned off during winter because the engines would never restart. Instead, they are left running, hour after hour, day after day, their exhaust forming ghostly trails in the frozen air. The people here have learned that you don't fight the cold, you respect it. Homes are built like fortresses. Trees, walls are layered 7 times thick, packed with insulation to trap every bit of warmth. Windows are triple-glazed, sealed tightly against the wind. Entryways often serve as freezers, where meat is hung like solid blocks, preserved naturally by the climate. Inside, families huddle around stoves, their homes glowing with heat, because letting the fire go out is unthinkable. If the central heating in Oymyakon were to fail for even a few hours, disaster could follow. Pipes would freeze and shatter. Entire households would be forced into emergency survival. For this reason, heating systems are constantly monitored, repaired, and maintained with near-military precision. But homes are only part of the story. Step outside, and the village reveals how fragile daily routines become when nature is this harsh. The school, for instance, closes only when the temperature drops below 55 degrees Celsius. Children bundled in layer upon layer of clothing still march to class while their eyelashes turn to frost. Teachers, too, endure the cold, chalk in hand, even as the ink in pens begins to freeze. For outsiders, this seems unthinkable, but for the children of Oymyakon, it is normal. They do not complain, they adapt. Food is another constant challenge. In a place where the ground is frozen year-round, farming is impossible. Instead, people rely on what they can hunt, herd, and fish. Yakut cattle are led to the river daily, their thick hides protecting them from temperatures that would kill other breeds. Horses, a unique local variety adapted to the cold, paw through snow to find bits of grass. Fishing is done through thick sheets of ice, with men standing over holes carved into the frozen river, pulling up catches that freeze solid before they can even be carried home. Diet here is built for survival. Meat and fish dominate, often eaten raw or frozen. One local delicacy is stroganina, thin slices of raw Arctic fish served like ribbons of ice. Fatty cuts of horse meat and reindeer provide calories that fuel the body against the relentless cold. Vegetables and fruits, when available, are expensive and often imported. But in a place like Oymyakon, survival is not about preference. It is about necessity. Even the way time is experienced here is shaped by the climate. In the deep winter months, daylight lasts less than 4 hours. The sun creeps above the horizon only briefly, casting a pale glow over a landscape locked in frost. Darkness dominates, broken only by the shimmer of stars and the northern lights. People measure their days not by the clock, but by chores that must be done before the cold becomes unbearable. Each minute outdoors is calculated, every step deliberate. The margin between safety and danger is always thin. Oymyakon is not without its beauty. There is a haunting stillness to the landscape. The snow sparkles like crushed diamonds under the moonlight. The forests, cloaked in frost, resemble glass sculptures. Even the air itself seems alive, carrying whispers that sound like the earth breathing. It is breathtaking, but it is also unforgiving. Here, beauty and danger walk hand in hand. Yet for all the harshness, Oymyakon is not a village frozen in time. The people here balance tradition with modern necessity. Satellite dishes sprout from rooftops, connecting families to the wider world. Children scroll on smartphones wrapped in gloves, while their grandparents recite old Yakut legends by firelight. The culture is rich, a blend of ancient customs and modern survival. The roots of this resilience stretch back centuries. The Yakut people, who have long inhabited this region, pass down knowledge of how to endure the cold. They learned to breed animals that could withstand the climate, to construct homes that resisted frost, to wear clothing layered with fur that locked in heat. Their traditions remain visible today, in the fur-lined coats, in the rituals of offering food to the spirits of the land, and in the quiet strength with which they face each new winter. But not everything can be adapted. Modern technology often fails here. Cameras seize up, batteries drain in minutes, metal snaps from brittleness. A pen left in the open air will freeze. Vehicles that stall must be abandoned, their frames slowly encased in ice until spring. Tourists, when they arrive, often underestimate the cold until their phones die. Their shoes stiffen, and their eyelashes frost over. For all the locals, these are lessons already written into memory. Everywhere you look, reminders of the cold's power stand stark. Telephone poles tilt where the permafrost beneath them has shifted. Roads crack and buckle. Wooden homes lean at strange angles, their foundations struggling against the frozen ground. And yet, life carries on. Weddings are celebrated, schools hold graduations, elders tell stories, and children grow up knowing nothing else but this frozen world. Perhaps, most remarkable of all is the way Oymyakon embraces its extreme identity. Signs proclaim it proudly as the coldest inhabited place on Earth. Thermometers stand in the village square, carrying visitors to test their courage against the numbers. For the people who live here, the cold is not just an enemy, it is also a source of pride. It is what sets them apart. It is their legacy, but behind the pride is also the daily cost. Fingers numb even through gloves. Cars that must idle endlessly, consuming fuel in silence. Animals that must be watched constantly, for a mistake can mean death. Families plan their lives around not only the weather but the failure of the body itself. Because here, if you are careless, The cold will not forgive. What is it that draws people to remain in such a place? The answer lies in a deep bond between people and land. For many, Oymyakon is not a choice, but a heritage. Their ancestors lived here, thrived here, and endured here. To leave would feel like betrayal. Others stay because of the beauty, the tranquility, the sense of belonging that only home can bring. In Oymyakon, every breath may be hard-won, but it is also a reminder of survival. And so, in the heart of Siberia, life continues at the edge of human endurance. Oymyakon remains the coldest village in the world, where 71 degrees Celsius is not just a statistic, but a way of life. A place that challenges everything we think we know about comfort, survival, and the limits of the human spirit. Hunting in Oymyakon is not just tradition, it is survival. The forests around the village hold reindeer, hares, foxes, and sometimes wolves. To step into those forests is to step into a battlefield with nature itself. Hunters must move quickly, setting traps with precision, carrying weapons not only for prey, but for predators. Even then, the real danger is not the animals. It is the cold, a misstep, a broken boot, a glove left behind, and the hunter risks never returning. One of the greatest threats is thin ice. Rivers in the region freeze over, but never perfectly. Hunters who cross them must test each step. The surface may look solid, but beneath lies frigid water that can kill in minutes. Falling through is almost always fatal, not because of drowning, but because the body shuts down instantly. Locals know this, which is why every trip into the wild carries a weight of seriousness. There is no room for recklessness here, and yet these hunts continue, because in Oymyakon, the land provides what stores cannot. Reindeer meat, horse meat, frozen fish, these are staples. They are packed with calories and fat, exactly what the body needs to survive. But the hunt is about more than food. It is about carrying forward a way of life passed down from generation to generation, to link to ancestors who survived the same battles centuries ago. For the Yakut people, who have lived in this region longer than memory records, survival is also spiritual. Many still follow traditions that honor the land and its spirits. Offerings are made to fire, to rivers, to the sky. These acts are not superstition to them, but a way of acknowledging the immense power of nature. To live in a place where cold can kill so easily is to accept that human beings are small, and that respect for the world around you is not optional. Even within the village, rituals of survival are constant. Cars must be started hours before they are needed, engines coughing out smoke into the frozen sky. Families gather wood every day to keep their stoves burning. Water must be hauled from rivers, as pipes, buried in permafrost, cannot carry it without freezing. Each task is doubled, tripled in difficulty by the cold, and yet it is done with quiet determination. Technology has tried to make its way here, but it often fails. Tourists who visit are stunned when their cameras shut down within minutes. Batteries drain as if swallowed by the cold. Lenses freeze over with layers of ice. Smartphones, if exposed, stop working entirely. Even industrial machines crack under pressure. Steel can snap like glass when struck at 60 degrees Celsius. For locals, these failures are not surprising. They are reminders that in Oymyakon, the modern world bends to the ancient force of the climate. Permafrost itself poses constant challenges. It warps buildings, tilts telephone poles, cracks roads. Every repair is temporary, because the frozen ground shifts with each season. Yet the people adapt, building homes on raised foundations, constantly reinforcing what the earth tries to destroy. To live here is to live in a constant state of repair, patching, fixing, rebuilding. And then there are the animals. Yakutian horses, with their thick coats, paw through the snow to find food. Cattle are led daily to icy rivers, their breaths rising in clouds, their hides covered in frost. Dogs, indispensable to many families, are bred to withstand the bitter cold. Still, each winter claims animals. It is a brutal reality that weighs heavily on the community, but one that strengthens their resilience. For outsiders, the most striking part of Oymyakon is the silence. Step outside at night, and the world seems paused. The snow absorbs every sound. Even your breath seems too loud, crystallizing instantly into tiny shards that drift to the ground. The stars hang like frozen lanterns in a black sky. The aurora dances, green and purple, across the emptiness. It is beautiful, yes, but it is also unsettling. The silence whispers a reminder. You are alone here, and the cold is watching. Yet, mid all of this, Oymyakon is also a community. Children laugh on their way to school, bundled so tightly in scarves that only their eyes show. Families gather for celebrations, tables filled with frozen fish and hot stews. Elders tell stories by the fire, recounting tales of ancestors who endured even harsher winters. Life goes on, not in defiance of the cold, but alongside it. Perhaps the greatest paradox of Oymyakon is that it inspires pride as much as hardship. Residents call it home with deep affection. They wear its record-breaking cold like a badge of honor. Thermometers in the village square attract tourists, who pose beside numbers most people can hardly believe. Tines proudly proclaim Oymyakon as the coldest inhabited place on earth. For its people, this is not a curse but an identity. They are the keepers of the pole of cold. But pride does not erase danger. In the harshest winters, frostbite is a constant companion. To lose feeling in your fingers, your nose, your ears, is to gamble with losing them forever. Even short walks can leave lasting scars. Stories circulate of travelers who underestimated the cold and paid with their lives. For the locals, these stories are lessons repeated. Reminders never to grow careless. The children who grow up here inherit that caution, but also the strength that comes with it. They learn from an early age how to dress, how to move, how to endure. What seems extraordinary to the outside world is ordinary to them, and perhaps that is the most remarkable thing of all, that in this place of extremes, life has not only persisted but normalized what should be impossible. As the world grows warmer and climate patterns shift, Oymyakon faces new uncertainties. Some winters are milder now. Though mild here still means 40 degrees Celsius, yet even small changes bring new risks. Thawing permafrost that destabilizes homes, shifts in animal patterns that make hunting harder. The people adapt, as they always have, but they do so with eyes open, aware that their world may continue to change. Still, the heart of Oymyakon endures. It endures in the laughter of children racing across icy yards. It endures in the crackle of wood stoves that never go cold. It endures in the quiet determination of families who refuse to abandon their homeland. For them, survival is not just about enduring the cold. It is about honoring the generations who came before, who carved out a place to live where no one else dared. And so, Oymyakon stands, year after year, as the ultimate testament to human resilience. A village frozen in time, yet alive with spirit. A place where the coldest temperature in the northern hemisphere was recorded, and where life still finds a way. It is both a warning and a wonder, a reminder of nature's unforgiving power, and of the extraordinary capacity of people to adapt. The coldest village in the world is not just a headline or a statistic. It is a story of survival written every single day. It is proof that even in the harshest corners of the planet, humanity endures. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson Oymyakon offers, that survival is not about conquering nature, but about learning to live with it, no matter how harsh, no matter how cold. Because here, at the pole of cold, every breath crystallizes in the air. Every step tests your strength, and every sunrise is a victory.